Hillbillies.
What?
Remember the ashtray deals years ago?
Yeah, I love it. This is what is happening?
Oh. Near Dale.
What are we playing? Musical chairs
Near
here?
Dale.
That was you, wasn't it?
No, I didn't do it, Mayor. I'm taking a bit.
Oh yeah, had a good time. Weather was great. Oh boy.
All right, I'd like to call to order. Welcome everybody first before we get going here. For coming out tonight, I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg City Board of Works meeting for February 21st, 2023. If I could get a roll call, Mr. Fetty.
All right, we got Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
City Attorney Dale Weldon. President Kelly Milan. And myself.
Here. It'll be one of those. All right. Any announcements, guys? I don't have anything for this meeting.
Nothing.
Okay. If not, entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
I'll second it, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I think we need, we had another meeting February 10th, unless that was listed under just council. That was
I
council.
think that was just listed under all under council.
Yep, it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. All in favor? Did we ask for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good on
All
that.
right. No other new other business or minutes to approve then. New business director Jenny Felix. Looks like we got a pool manager and assistant manager recommendation.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So we have, we advertise for the pool manager and the assistant manager. We always have the deadline for this ahead of the other seasonal help. We wound up with 3 applicants for each position. However, for the pool manager, we only had 1 that met the criteria, which they all are required to have a CPR and previous management experience. Pool management experience is preferred, but but the management and the CPR are necessary. And then for the assistant pool manager, we had 2 of them that met those same qualifications too. So I'd like to recommend for the pool manager, Dolores Abbott. And then for the assistant manager, I want to recommend 2, which is Angela Bryant and Brandon Abden. They shared the duties in previous years. Brandon's been doing the position for 4 years, and Angela's been doing it for 2.
Okay, I'd like to take these one position at a time. But you got questions, anybody?
I have none, Mayor.
I have none, but I will have to abstain from the pool manager.
Okay. All right. All right, so I'd like to get a motion then on the floor is to hire Dee Abbott as the pool manager for the 2023 pool season.
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'm going to second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I
Motion
abstain.
carries.
And I'll just say for the record, we do this every year, but Dee Abbott was the pool manager before Mr. Tony Abbott was elected to city council or appointed to Board of Works. So that's
Yes.
important to note for the public. And the law very clearly states that in terms of nepotism, direct line supervision cannot be derived from the Board of Works. So it's not nepotism and it's not a conflict of interest. Mr. Abbott is abstaining out of an additional ethical duty, which we always appreciate, but there's nothing wrong with hiring Dee to be the pool manager like we do every year.
Okay. So the vote would be 2-0-1. Okay, next for the assistant manager recommendations, it looks like it's Brandon Abden and Angela Bryant.
Yes.
I'd like to get a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I'll second it, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you. May I have one more request, Mayor? I would like to ask the board for the okay to work with the pool managers as well as the other managers in hiring all the seasonal positions.
Like we have in.
But yeah, as opposed to bringing them all individually back to you guys for approval.
Okay. You guys got any problems with that?
I have no problem.
We're okay with that.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll skip until the public hearing, we'll skip the agenda item too, and come back to it, so if we could.
Is it advertised?
It is, yeah, so if we could, after you get everything done, we'll, not adjourn this meeting, but we'll table
Pause
that
it.
item and come back to Board of Works after council, if that's okay with you.
Okay. All right, the next item though is MS4 task order.
Thank you, Your Honor. What you have in your packets is the second part of, we've approved this already as a bigger package, but I did want to pull out the OHM task order that is part of the larger process that we're doing collaboratively with the county and Aurora and Greendale, Lawrenceburg. We've all teamed up to handle our duties under what's called MS4. MS4 is essentially the state Department of Environmental Management taking their traditional duties in terms of storm sewer maintenance and the things that are ancillary to storm sewer and putting them into local groups. So this has been happening over the course of years based on population size. Now it's to our population size. And so we're an MS for this region. And so what we've decided to do, which I think is a great move by Mario and John and the mayor is, and our storm sewer department, they've gone to training. They've already gotten way ahead of this. Even when Mike Clark was here, he was way ahead of it. But in order to meet all of these deadlines and modes and the way they've broken this project out, there's a lot of administrative work. So instead of us paying one consultant to do it just for ourselves, we'll split the cost. We're splitting the cost with the county and the other cities. And we get an additional benefit. The county actually has some full-time personnel that can work on these things, especially with pre and post-construction and during construction. That's a big part of it, managing soil erosion plans and things of that nature. So this is the task order for OHM, the engineering firm that's representing everyone, to get moving on the next phase of the project. You can see
Questions?
the breakdowns. I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
you can see the breakdowns, and Mario's here as well. He's got the technical expertise if you have those kind of questions.
Can you clarify the fee?
Yep, I knew you were gonna ask me that.
That's what I'm here for.
So I don't.
I see it's where it says $10,000 will not exceed contract limit without client's prior approval. Invoicing will be performed monthly. Does that mean we're paying 10 monthly or is
No.
it $10,000
$10,000.
annually?
It's
Or just-
$10,000 for this part of the project.
Exactly. And
Not
that's,
to- Not to exceed that.
Okay, that's
that's
where I
our
needed some
part of it.
clarification.
That's only our part, yeah.
Right.
The county is paying a larger part of the fee, and then Greendale's involved and Aurora.
Yep.
so that's all on.
So how, can you say that again, Mary? This is $10,000 for the,
For the project of getting this all set up and administering this
oh, I
project.
didn't see that part.
Yeah,
Dale,
I don't know what page that's on.
Dale, is there
That's a
I
breakdown.
didn't see that, I'm sorry.
separate
You're good.
contracts here? I think there's two separate contracts. At least in my agenda, there was two separate contracts.
They're
And I think it was for 10,000 each. Now, am I looking at things wrong or am I looking at things right?
The 3,000,
What?
from what you're thinking. We've already
Oh,
paid-
the other one might have been three?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
paid
but
that.
there was two.
Yes, that was the first.
So they, basically, we're just doing the second one just for 10, just
Yeah.
nothing with the first one. Okay, but it was in my agenda, so we're not doing anything with that, okay.
No, and if it's okay with everyone, I think you prefer it this way, we'll do it this way as we go. We'll bring it to you in chunks. That way you know what you're paying for, what phase we're on, what our duties are. We'll keep you involved logistically. We've got a group meeting, I think Thursday maybe, Mario, of this week, to get an update. So we'll keep you updated with the pricing, the consultant stuff, and the technical aspect.
And just so you guys know, Matt Marillion, Zach Powell, who are in the remedial group, and then John Johnson, any training or anything that gets That will be done by the city. They'll be taking that on. In fact, they're going to some training, I believe, in Fort Wayne,
Correct.
if I'm not mistaken, 2-day training or something. But they'll be our remedial, it'll fall under remedial,
It's actually a certification.
yes, with Matt and Zach. Good question. Any other questions regarding that?
I had none.
Okay, so, tonight we're here to approve the MS4 task order, the one that's, is not to exceed the $10,000.
Yeah, I'm still confused on this. I see two separate things, and I don't know.
Yeah, that's where it got me too.
Yeah, let me look at them.
Now, I will
Both of them
say,
say 10,000, so
copy.
I'm just a little confused on
the
it.
only one I seen was on page,
Two of them, should be two.
Well, one says outline for professional services for MS4 program development and support. The other one says, it says pretty much
The same
outline
thing.
for professional services,
The second one's already signed by the county, so
Program.
we may just have two
development and
copies.
support.
I think you did, because I even asked Kelly that,
So
why
one
did
says
I
for the
have
city of
multiple?
Lawrenceburg, one says for all four of them, so I think
We're only signing
basically
the
it was just
first
this
one.
one for the city of Lawrenceburg.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think you got double copies
Okay.
on it.
Yep,
And the second one was.
The second one has all four cities on it?
Yep.
Exactly.
So we're just doing the one with the city of Lawrenceburg on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I can see now, we did include the second one on purpose, just because it has the broad
Everybody's.
scope, it has everybody, just for
Yes.
informational
Okay.
purposes. Okay.
I got it,
That's the way to look
clarified.
at it.
Sorry about that.
No,
no,
you're,
I'm glad you did
But the-
clarify.
You're exactly
but the cost
right.
is the only.
It's only $10,000, yes. Yes, I got it.
Yep.
And you've already paid, I think, 3,300 for task one.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it probably would have been better if it would have been spelled out a little different, because I even asked Kelly, did you send me this twice? And she said, this is what I was.
Yes.
They look about the same.
They do.
Not to say
They
one's
do.
for all four, and that's
Yeah.
basically already been kind of decided, but it's basically, we're just separating ours out and taking care of our 10,000.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
good.
I think they just did like a global one for all four units and then our specific.
Yep, I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
And they've been great to work with, the county's been great to work with, and the other cities, so far, so good.
Any other questions, guys?
I have none, Mayor.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move.
Second,
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, the other item you got under new business, the average processing costs of code enforcement resolution.
If we could table that, Your Honor, until after the public hearing, which occurs at 6:30, I would appreciate it.
I'd like to pause the Board of Works meeting and, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I have a couple of things under new business, if I could.
Oh, under new business?
Yep.
Okay.
And they're just questions.
Yeah, sure.
Was gonna check in on contractor pricing for 2023. I haven't seen anything on that.
Yeah, last year we did not do it, but if you're requesting for this year, we can just hit the button and get contractor pricing.
So this is not something we generally do annually, it's just if we inquire?
Correct. It's
Like
kind
master service agreement?
I think
well,
last year we decided, or you got, somebody inquired and we decided not to do it.
last year, correct,
The year before, we did it.
correct.
Yeah,
And I don't know how,
Well, I mean, I think Tommy you want everything bid out with projects and stuff, so that's why we kind of went,
And we usually use that for like emergency services.
Correct.
Everything from even extra snow removal to the drift clearing, concrete work, emergency type work, that you have a locked-in price. And it's usually a small fee that we're going for. Anything big, we usually go out for bids and quotes.
Mr. Would it be acceptable to you if Mr. Todd and I got together and we took the one from 2 years ago and just identified who could qualify for
Sure, I have no problem with that.
non-bidding,
I
if
just-
it's services and emergency, and then just bring those back to you?
that's fine.
Okay,
I probably actually have some of them for previous years.
because they,
I'm sorry to
No,
cut you
you're
off, I just thought it was something that we did annually, that's why, and I didn't see it, so I thought I'd bring it up again. just
we
to
do
touch base.
master services annually, but that's for professional services like environmental and things of those nature. And then since we stopped doing just general contracting, we did do a simplified bid quote with contract, and Mario and John have been excellent with that. So we could even now take it another step to find what would be an exception to the bidding and quoting for just services like emergency services or maintenance services, and bring that package to the board and get some cost savings there too.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And the last thing would be the license agreements for the fairgrounds. They're all due this year.
Okay.
That would be the motorcycle track, the car track, and the antique market.
Okay.
Are we gonna look into them at all? If so, the only thing I would like to see if we could implement in, now that we have the new metering system at the fairgrounds, if someone were to use electric or water, we can now have a better way of seeing how much they used, when they used it, if we could put some language into those. In other words, if we stay with the same license agreement, just put some language in there pertaining to those type of
I
utilities.
thought, doesn't the racetrack have a 4-year term?
I'm pretty sure they're all up.
End of this
I
year.
looked November last
End
year.
of this season.
Correct.
Yes, 2020.
Okay.
Also,
Yes.
so the last time we renewed, we only renewed it for 2 years?
2 years.
Yes.
Okay, because usually they do 4 years, and I think that's okay.
And if we don't do anything, they will go ahead and go for another year. I'm just saying, if we don't, that's fine with me.
Okay.
I would like to see if we could put some kind of language in there, being as our utility partners put the better metering down there, we can see who is using what and when. Though there was some discrepancy in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'd prefer that because they were,
That's what I was thinking
Question.
myself.
or be careful what you ask for. But either way, whatever's true billing is always more fair to them and us.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll give it to the mayor and Guinevere, and we'll set a work session to look at all 3 of those agreements. We'll decide, other aspects too. If there's anything anyone wants to explore for all 3 of those, we can do it then.
Sounds good to me. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
I do have an old business, before, I'm not gonna pause this till we actually have to, but, old business, Mr. Todd, I think we got an amendment to the crosswalk project.
Correct. That would be, and I think at our last, at the retreat during our open session, it was discussed to do the bump out on the opposite corner also. In front of you have the professional service not to exceed number of 7,000.
That's on Tate and Walnut.
Tate Walnut,
Correct.
correct.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. And this is for the engineering piece. This is a not to exceed hourly price. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions, guys?
Have none.
I'm the Mayor.
If not, entertain a motion to approve the HWC amendment of a not to exceed $7,000 hourly price on the engineering for the additional bump out.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second it, Mayor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
And for
Motion
the
carries.
record, clerk treasurer's office said this will come out of the engineering fees
Okay,
line item.
all right. Sounds good. Okay, we can go ahead and approve the claims. If anybody got any of their old business before we go on there?
No.
If not, entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second it, Mayor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'd like to now pause this Board of Works meeting at 6:19. And we'll come back to that at the public hearing at 6:30. Next meeting I'd like to bring up to order is the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting for February 21st, 2023. Mr. Fetty, can I get a roll call?
Yeah, we got member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board member Justin Noppert is absent. Board member Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Board member Lenny Fryman.
Here.
Board member Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
City Attorney Dale Wilton.
Here.
President Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay. Any announcements for parks, guys? I don't have any for this meeting.
Mayor.
If no announcements, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So move.
Second,
I'll second it, Mayor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I don't have any new or old business for parks. Anybody got anything they need to talk about or add to it? getting that season, that's for sure.
Your Honor, I think it was Councilman Fryman had asked about lights for
Mhm.
the fountains. The guys are still checking on the new pump and also smart lights for all the fountains.
I think that's gonna look really neat when we get that done.
Yeah, we'll get a price. Yeah, thanks, Mario. All right. Well, if no other new or old business for Parks and Recreation, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. I'd next like to call to order the City of Lawrenceburg Council meeting for February 21st, 2023. If everyone could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, once again there, Mr. Fetty, roll call.
We got Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
We got Councilperson Justin Noppert absent. We got Councilperson Tommy Roulette.
Present.
Councilperson Lenny Fryman.
Here.
Councilperson Brett Bondurant.
Yes, sir.
City Attorney Dale Weldon.
Here.
Mayor Kelly Malone.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, and curbs for the downtown area, Mr. Abbott.
We're all good.
Streets, alleys, and curbs for Ludlow Hill, Mr. Fryman.
Real good, thank you, sir.
Finance Department, Mr. Bondurant.
No report, Mayor.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Noppert, he didn't have anything. Fire Department, Mr. Roulette.
No report, Mayor.
All right. Couple of announcements I have for you guys. We got a work session Monday night at 5 o'clock. It's on the final paperwork for the Alta Fiber purchase. That'll be at 5. It shouldn't be a long meeting, but that should be posted. I think it got posted today. Did it get posted today? And then we'll make everybody aware that Summer Help Job Fair is this Saturday right here in Council Chambers from 9:30 to 11 a.m. And then I think online we're taking applications for summer help until March 11th for college kids too. That gives them a way to, if they're not home this weekend. So, okay, new business. Donation committee recommendations. You'll see, let me see here. Let's do this. Approval of minutes of the previous meeting. I'm sorry. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we have a February 10th work session. Can I get a motion to approve it?
So move, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now, new business. Donation committee recommendations. You'll see we've got the one, it was for the Pregnancy Care Center Life Walk. Any questions, guys? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the donation committee recommendations.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item I wanted to talk about was the CARE building. We had talked about at the retreat about renovation dollars. And I talked to Brittany, this would come out of rainy day. Asking for $100,000 to put towards the renovation of the CARE building, which is the Community Action Recovery Effort, is what CARE is all about. It's the building over on Industrial Drive. What else can I tell you? Questions regarding it?
What percentage is our share of the total renovation?
It'll, 100,000, the total renovation is almost 450,000.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going after a large grant through the state opioid settlement fund, which is being applied for by the initiative, and community mental health is involved in that. One community, one family, and 400 or 300 and some odd $1,000 is a grant from them to help with the renovation as well. And then they've also, community mental health applied for $100,000 through the community foundation. So that should, they're thinking it's going to be about it's $486,000 total renovation. And they think they can get all the money based upon if we contribute community foundation and then
State funding.
the funding, and then our contribution will go towards the grant request for the state. If that helps explain that too. So, questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve $100,000 to be donated towards the CARE initiative building over on Industrial Drive for renovations, or part of the renovation package.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second, Mayor.
All righty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, thanks, guys. Next item is ordinance number 2023-2. -2. This is the revised alley vacation ordinance.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Thank you. If it pleases the common council, what I would like to do, not throw a curveball at Mark, is to, for the record, to allow this to become amended ordinance number 2023-1 and replace.
I was gonna say, because we already got one.
Yeah, and if we do that on the record, then
So it's
I'm
just kinda-
comfortable just replacing it. So this will be 2023-1.
Okay.
And we'll just, Mark will replace it.
Okay, yeah, because
take
I
the
was
old one
wondering
out.
what you're gonna do with the other one.
And
well,
that makes it less confusing
Yes,
for
okay.
future generations of people looking at all the stuff we,
Do we want a
Yeah.
separate vote to replace before we go on to approve this?
we can do that, however you please, Your Honor, yeah.
What would be better for you?
Well, we already got one in place. I don't know, I'd almost like to go two, but it
I'll
doesn't.
call it number 2. We can do that.
Yeah, I'd almost
Yeah.
say let's call it number 2.
Okay.
Basically,
Okay.
this order proceeds or supersedes the one, it takes place of.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know what
Okay.
would be
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. What do you think?
easiest for you.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't want to.
Okay,
For clarification though, the only thing that I've seen that you did to this same ordinance is you added the words "to the Lawrenceburg Redevelopment Commission."
Yes, sir.
That's
That's,
the only change from the number 1 to number 2, we're calling it.
yep. And that was just based solely on the request of the county. So we passed our ordinance last council meeting.
Yep.
We sent it over to the county. They kicked it back. They said, hey, we want you to specifically note that you are vacating this alley to the ownership of the redevelopment commission. They wanted us to put their address in there. And then on the signature page, just added this disclaimer that's required when the county records things. So it was just based on what they wanted. So nothing's changed. Project hasn't changed. Property
Okay.
hasn't changed.
any questions regarding this resolution? Or, this is an ordinance, right?
Yes, sir.
Ordinance. If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve ordinance number 2023-2, and we'll approve it on first reading tonight, so long as the vote is unanimous. I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Thank you, guys. Okay. I've got 6:30.
Yep.
Okay. So what I'd like to do at this point, I'd like to pause the city council meeting at 6:30 PM. And then reopen the Board of Works meeting at 6:30 PM. And this is the time for the public hearing, correct, Mr. Weldon?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, if it pleases the court, or please the Board of Works.
You sound like me now, Dale.
I tried to drink.
Mine right, me.
Tried to drink extra coffee today. Pleases the Board of Public Works and Safety, City of Lawrenceburg. So this is a public hearing and the opportunity for the public to comment on what was published in the newspaper as a resolution of the City of Lawrenceburg, a resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Lawrenceburg, Indiana, establishing the average processing cost of enforcement under the unsafe building law. This resolution sets out, and then specifically in Exhibit A, which is attached, and this resolution will be up for a vote following the public meeting, but it lays out unsafe building average enforcement costs. It has code enforcement division salaries, city contribution for perf, taxes, IAM, attorney's fees, publication costs, title search, and engineer's report. This is a requirement of the statute for recovery when we have a property that has gone all the way through the process of unsafe building. So we have 333 Arch. That was a property that was condemned, demoed, and when we have those types of projects, we lean against the property, our costs of demolition, our costs of environmental remediation, and the statute allows us to add the average cost of enforcement rather than the specific cost of what it actually costs. So the statute also requires that we have a resolution and a public hearing to set that. We base these numbers off a sample of unsafe building enforcement actions where we gotten to the point of demolition and gone through the city court process. So we feel these are good and just, true and accurate approximations of what an unsafe building action costs from an administrative point of view when it goes all the way from soup to nuts, from an initial violation all the way to a demolition. If this is approved, then this number of $11,736.31 will be used as the average cost of enforcement for all such actions. Again, that would be added to the lien that has the actual cost of demolition, the actual cost of environmental remediation.
First question I have is, we didn't have this in place when we did 333 Arch Street, but now you're saying this is a requirement that we have to have in place?
It's a requirement if we want to use the average costs of enforcement for any project. So if we want to recoup our administrative costs and have it on an average basis rather than having to add the costs on a case-by-case basis.
Okay, the second question would be is, how did we derive to these numbers? I mean, like the attorney fees alone are $8,000. How did we, I'm confused on actually all these numbers, because this, how do you scope this project out if an area is bigger than what we tore down on 333? You know what I mean?
No,
Is there more fees involved in a bigger building that we'd have to tear down compared to what we did over at 333?
That
But we're
is,
setting cost here for,
This is the average.
Yep.
There could be more on other projects, but we're not gonna, we only get the average. Could be less on other projects, but we get the average. And that's where the 11,000 comes in. I don't know if it's,
yeah, I mean, this was, so we looked at other actions similar to 330 Arch where buildings have been demolished. And so like 333 Arch is a good example.
that was our first example, really.
Well, it was this group's first, but I mean,
Correct.
we've done we've done them more than one over the years, and so we looked at 230 Walnut,
Walnut Street.
230 Walnut. We had to demo that. That was the leaning building next to the storage units.
Okay.
We looked at a couple other properties that had gotten to the point of condemnation but not demolition, and what we found is that there are significant administrative costs from the initial citation to multiple court hearings to having a trial to obtaining warrants in county court to processing the project all the way through. So the law states, Indiana law states that you should set an average cost of enforcement before you apply that to a project. If this is approved, we would apply this to 333 Arch and all of our future projects moving forward, so that we don't give a true bill, we give an average cost, which is just what the legislature prefers. And the mayor's right, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, this is the average cost.
It's sort of confusing to me, because I realized it was in the paper, and then it came about, and I'm like, why did this all of a sudden come about? Because we did the unsafe building back in August of last year. Why wouldn't this have been there or followed this? And we're just doing it now, and you guys are saying that you've done stuff like this in the past on Walnut, but nothing's ever been put in writing like this before.
Exactly. So we're,
So you're trying to get that done now.
yep.
So
And
does that mean that, and I'm gonna throw it out there, does that mean the attorney can,
No,
that it's just a number?
you're looking at it as an average number,
Okay.
okay? On some of these condemnations, we may have paid the attorney, whoever, $14,000, okay? On some of these condemnations, we may have paid that attorney's office $2,500. This is what giving us an average that we're allowed to charge to each project. That doesn't mean that attorney, we're gonna go out and then we're gonna cut a check for attorney for $8,000. Doesn't mean that.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's where I need
No.
clarification.
No, all this
because-
money goes back to the city
No, it
to
goes back to the
reimburse the city.
General fund, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're trying to
Better
do,
understand.
It would go
okay,
in
yeah, that's a good question.
Well, I mean, it's just,
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement fund.
yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't give them free rein to say, write me a check for it.
Yeah, you see that number like, oh, I can go to town with this. so to
well, and the
speak.
attorney doesn't get any, like the mayor said, it all goes back to.
I really don't understand the process, but I'm learning.
No,
This
you're,
is all new to us.
well, and honestly, the reason we're doing this is because Doug Garner, Judge Johns, Morgan, they're doing it better than it's ever been done before. And they're
And I
doing it
get
by the
that.
exact letter of the law. They're implementing things that make it fair to the public. You know, we don't want to put too much of a lien on the lot after we demo it, but we also don't want to put too little, because it does cost the city a lot to get to where that lot is right now. I mean,
So-
it costs a lot of money.
I got it,
We
I got
just wanna
it.
Get it back.
I got just one quick question. I said, is this kind of more of an informational thing? And say we get to the point where, you know, we basically tell somebody you have to vacate a building, or, you know, and you have to do certain things to it. Is it only if we actually tear it down, the city actually tears it down, do these
Yep.
numbers come into play?
Yeah.
If we don't ever touch it, the city, and say they take care of it, none of these numbers come.
Oh, yeah.
This doesn't come into play at all, right?
This is only for.
If we actually-
Like 333.
Just in that
Okay.
scenario.
I'm following a little bit better now because
We should have
Yeah.
done it a long time ago, Tony.
I get
Yeah.
that. We get that.
What
Yeah.
really should have happened, but
I agree.
And it's more of an, like you
where
said,
now, we don't get anything. With the money we pay, like Doug Garner, that he did on, say, on another project with, code enforcement, we don't get any of that money back. Where now we can, at least from the property owner, we can get some of recoup some of our cash out, if that makes sense.
I mean, Indiana code says you're allowed to do this. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it's better because now we're showing our work.
Yes.
They know that we're not just making a number up, that kind of
Okay.
thing. But you're right, I mean, it's just to pay the city back, along with cost of demolition, cost of environmental, and it's only for extreme cases where we have to go all the way through the process, which
Doesn't happen very often.
doesn't happen very often.
Good question, yeah, by the way. Any other questions before we go on? Anybody?
Are there any questions from the audience, from the public, before we close the public hearing, and then we'll vote on the resolution?
Okay. If not, then, resolution number
One.
one.
One,
One.
Okay, so we don't have to close the public hearing
We'll do it
within the Board of Work.
okay, yeah,
We can just close it out under adjournment.
okay.
Okay, so, if no other questions, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the average processing cost of code enforcement resolution, which is number 2023-1.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second, Mayor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. Thank you.
Thank you for better explaining it. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
I think we all have a better understanding. Okay. Okay, Board of Works, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the Board of Works and the hearing.
So moved.
Second, Mayor.
Second? You say second, Tom?
Yes, I second it, Mayor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Now I'd like to reopen City Lawrenceburg Council meeting at 6:40 PM. Mr. Todd, under new business, Johnson Controls proposal.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe in front of you, you have a proposal from Johnson Controls, and it's more IT. Bryson's bailiwick, not mine, but I saved him a trip coming from Batesville to present it. As you see on the listing there, it has modems and IT things, I'll call it, that one's a firewall protection, one's to communicate, and this is all in Johnny's maintenance room.
Oh, throw me under the bus.
Well, this actually allows Johnson Controls to talk and interface with his equipment and also with Rick and John via the computer. And again, it's got some firewalls built in. I think Bryson actually met with Johnson Controls and gave them the needs and wants for the protection.
Okay.
Now, the system over there is fairly new. This is just updating
The last time, I
the
think,
communication part.
I think the last time it was upgraded was, I'm gonna say 5 or 6 years ago, software-wise.
When they installed the new boiler, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the point I
That
was
would've
trying to
been
make.
16, I think,
16.
yes.
Okay.
And also the chiller.
Yep.
And FYI, we're gonna have probably some more Johnson Controls stuff for the preventative maintenance coming at you. We're kind of picking, weeding through that now. We're gonna upgrade that with some UV protection also over there. That's in the future.
So, and again, Mr. Walkie's not here, this is probably where they can communicate back and forth with us and troubleshoot
Correct.
from wherever if you guys have issues and.
Yeah.
I think in the past, they've had some AC problems chasing it along with heating.
Remember the gentleman said we currently on like version 1.
Correct.
They're at 12. That's-
Correct.
Or they're further than that, but with what we got equipment-wise, we can upgrade it to the 12.
Catch up to them, correct. And I think he said they're going to discard wherever section they have right now. It's gonna be obsolete and they're not gonna update. So we've got to move to a new section to get the updates.
Okay. Any other questions regarding?
Have none.
If not, I entertain a motion to approve the Johnson Controls proposal in the amount of $14,551.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
That's all I had, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Next item is proposed lot split. Ms. Noppert / Chief Tremaine. Ms. Noppert? Come to the podium, please. Yeah. I think we all have a diagram of the lot. Looks like, and I guess I don't have the,
Do you have because I went and got some copies.
We've got the drawings for the lot split.
Okay.
Yeah.
The highlighted area?
It is.
Okay.
The only thing
Okay.
that we don't have here, though, is they didn't put the dimension in this one.
Yep.
Oh, I have
talked-
that.
Well, I've got them, it's 22 by, what
they
was
did
it,
have-
151 or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They didn't outline them on this when they did it.
I have some fresh copies if you.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
I know how big
And
it is
there's
now.
parking here.
Okay. So I'm requesting to purchase this piece of land at fair market value. I'm going to build a home in front of it. I own the lot and the garage / barn at 302 Walker, and I also own 304 Walker. So this piece of land is actually contiguous with both of those pieces of property. So green space is very important to me. Gardening is very important to me, and basically I would like to have a backyard, because if I don't, I will have 5 feet clearance on the sides and the back of this house. And again, that's, if you look at 302, I've already put several gardens in and have fruit trees, and I think this would, well, people won't actually see it, but I will see it. Friends and family will certainly see it. And I also will move, replace, or repair the current fence that is up there, and it's probably about 20 years old. It's in a little bit of disrepair, so I'm more than willing to put a new fence in, move that fence, and can answer any questions that you might have about that.
And just a couple things.
Sure.
That jumped out to me. So the house on Walker, how long has that house been there?
I don't know the answer.
That's his
Yes.
personal meeting.
Yeah.
So it's
Time,
50s.
So just when I'm looking at this and kind of visualizing it, it's fair to say that that house was there before the new firehouse was built and
Oh,
before
yes.
the new
Yes.
dollar store and before everyone kind of got switched.
I think it
around
was there when the trailer court
Right.
was
It
there,
it
wasn't it?
Built in the 50s.
Is that
Yeah.
Dean Ranson's home at one time?
Yes.
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 It was there before the trailer court.
Yep.
I mean, that, to me, that was just jumped out as significant because that, could have been this could have been done originally. It could have been chopped up this way, and they were moving things around.
Is there a, you said a purchase price, what, have we seen any?
We would do, so Your Honor, this came, Ms. Noppert contacted John Johnson. John forwarded me the plans, what I thought was most fair to Ms. Noppert and to the group, because you guys have to kind of make the call on this, is to hear from Mrs. Noppert, to hear from Chief Tremaine, of course. These drawings will need to be modified. I don't know if the new ones would meet the standards, but they would need to finalize the drawings, and we would get 2 appraisals on the property and then bring it back. I just wanted to, before she took any more steps that might cost money, I wanted to see if the board would approve us moving down the line to do that.
Oh, I
If the
appreciate
board
that.
says no, then we're just all done, but if the board says yes, then we would get the appraisals, and she would get better drawings, and we would see how much it costs, what we need to do to close, title work, all that kind of jazz. And then I give you a full picture of what that would cost and what the
Okay.
next steps would be.
So all your effort tonight is just moving forward, right? This isn't an agreement to sell any land or anything like that. This is just an agreement to appraise.
I would be looking for a vote to sell Mrs. Noppert this piece of property
At fair
for
market
the
value.
average of 2
Okay.
appraisals. That way, we know what we're locked into, when we bring the price back, so we don't spin our wheels, I wouldn't want to defer the decision. I would want basically the final decision to be, and then we'll bring the price back to you, along with the price of the title search and the closing and
Correct.
drawings and that, and then you can approve who pays what, but it would be to sell it for the average of the 2 appraisals, Mr. Bonder, and if that is okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a couple of different things here.
Sure.
Number one, for clarification, this has nothing to do with setbacks. I mean, it doesn't hold you from building what you want.
Oh, no.
You just wanted it for, as you stated, the green area.
I wanted it to have a backyard, quite frankly.
Number two, who would pay for the appraisals? Is that something that she does? Or do we have to get it appraised because we own it?
We need to get it appraised because
Okay.
we own it, and then we can decide, does the purchase price include the appraisals? Do we share the cost of the appraisals?
Okay.
The closing, the title work, who pays what?
And I'm more than
Costs
willing
associated
to
with it.
pay for the appraisals. That's not a
And
problem.
we use good appraisers, quality appraisers. We use local. We use the most reasonable. Mario, I don't know if you could weigh in on this, but I always get good appraisals that I know we can rely on, but I don't
Okay,
get expensive appraisals.
okay.
So however you guys think it's fair, we can go ahead and address that. Who would pay for the appraisals? She would pay the average of the 2 appraisals as a purchase price, and then closing costs. A vote could be to not do it at all. A vote could be to do it, and she pays all of those things, or a vote could be that maybe we split the appraisals and the closing costs, and of course, she pays the average of 2 appraisals. So this could be 3 options for a vote.
Chief
Yeah,
Jermaine,
to make it more complicated.
do you use this area at all for anything? I mean, it is just
No,
green space, correct?
Yeah, it's a green space. The only thing that's been there was the pole for the geo treasure hunt thing, which we'll have to have that taken out. But as far as anything else, no. It's
And with this,
there's enough space, you know, because somebody marked it the other day that, I mean, it's still 5 feet from the curb. So any overhang of, and our trailer's parked there and it overhangs, but that'd be plenty of space for that.
Oh, okay.
And that was my other thought, to have
So you still have
Chief
five.
Jermaine here
Yeah.
for you guys to ask him. I mean, it's kind of it's everyone's firehouse, but he's in charge of it, and I would want you to hear from him before you made a decision like this.
I want to make a comment. I certainly understand why you'd want a backyard. I I understand that, of course I do. My question to you guys is this going to set a precedent on other city-owned property? That's the only thing I'm asking to think about. I'm not saying, you know, I mean, if we vote tonight and it's a 2-2 vote, then I have to make a decision, and I'm not afraid to do that. What I'm asking you guys to think about is if we're okay with setting a precedent, because we've got other people that are contiguous to other parks that we own, things like that. When they come to us and ask us, say, hey, I'd like to put a barn back here, you know, or a garage, but I need another 10 feet, you know, are we going to do that? I mean, it's going to happen. I just want everybody to, you know, think about that. I'm thinking about it from this standpoint. Of course, Mrs. Noppert wants a backyard, and I can see her point as well. I certainly see your point. It's
Well-
just, you know.
Are there not people down on the riverbank who lease property from the city? Because I would be willing to even lease it.
Not that I'm aware of.
no, I think she's referring to the boat club.
Oh, the boat club
That's
down
through
there?
the Conservancy District.
Yeah, that's not our property.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and another option is to give her an easement, to give her a license. There are other vehicles where she's able to have an interest, be comfortable that she's able to use that, but we also haven't sold the property. We still own it. She has an easement. That's an option too. And you know, again, balancing fair to us, fair to future people that might say, man, I wish.
right,
Can I ask you a question, Miss?
sure.
You've got it's sort of a cattywampus here. I get that. But your house is gonna go to this lot line, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Would you, but you want all of this as well?
Well,
You would like to?
I do, and I'll tell you why.
Sure.
I have a new puppy,
Uh-huh.
and she's actually at puppy school
What?
right now.
Yeah.
And
Obedience school?
she is, yes, she is. She's happy.
I got a couple councilmen we'd like to send over
French bulldog, so she's
Yeah,
darling little dog.
I got you.
I know. I
Like
didn't
her to have
realize
run,
there was still that much
Put a
space
little, space back there for her, but I also.
in that area.
It's like
to
our
put
shed
some trees back there.
is right here.
Some trees and some shrubbery
Mm-hmm.
and, try to create a bit of a barrier
Sure.
between me and the dollar store.
Sure. I understand why you want to do it, of
Yeah,
course,
exactly.
but I just,
I do remember that.
I'm looking at it
Some
from,
doors or something.
Oh, no,
we got a large park up on the hill that it's
I get it.
next to
Yep,
a
yep.
lot of different
Gotcha.
properties.
Yeah,
And,
well, this is-
you know, I'm just.
No, I
worry about that
understand,
Setting a precedent is what it.
yeah.
I don't know, what other questions you guys got?
You pretty much summed up what I was wanting to ask her too. I
And
mean,
I'm not saying it's a problem, it's
No.
just, you know, just something to think about.
And I get your concerns. Is there any property, so you're saying anywhere in the city?
Yeah,
Not just,
could be alleys.
okay.
In that same alley, there's another citizen
But-
that's wanting property to build a garage, and he said no.
But if we own the property and it's not being utilized by the city, and if, I think you're referring to where Mr. McAdams lived,
Yes.
if it's not being utilized by the city, I mean, I wouldn't see, I'm just saying myself, I wouldn't see that being that much of an issue either, because you have your alley in
Well,
the area.
but if you're building a structure, that's a little different.
Well, then you have to go by your setbacks. You'd have to
Yeah.
follow zoning codes.
Right.
Yeah.
Where she's not gonna put anything,
Right.
it doesn't look like this part, the property that you're wanting to purchase, you were gonna have any structure on there, it's just
No.
gonna be yard.
It is going to be yard, yes.
That's why an easement's an option, and, you know, it's very case by case, Mr. Roulette, but I think with someone else, another option always is to, give them variance for their setbacks, so then maybe they don't need as much property, so I think you guys do a great job of this anyway, but it's always very fact specific and case by case.
So the easement would go with the, property, right?
It would, and I can fiddle with the language to make everyone happy, but if you're okay with that, Mrs. Noppert, I mean, it
I-
would give you
I,
a little assurance that you've got it, you know, going forward, but
I'm not going to say how old I am, but I'm not going to live for 50 years.
Why not?
So, well, I don't want
Well, I
to,
am, and I'm as old as you
Well-
are, so
I don't want to live that long, but both of my daughters live out of town. I would like to be close to my son and his children as I'm aging, and I would really like a backyard.
we'd like more trees and gardens. Sound like
Oh.
you're doing beautiful things with the property.
I mean, we can go ahead and take it to a vote if you'd like. I mean, on the purchase or an easement, however you guys want to do it. I'm open to what you guys thinking.
I honestly don't have a problem with the purchasing part of it myself, but that's just me. I see it as unused area there in between the firehouse and what she's actually wanting, and she's clearly stated it's not because of setbacks, it's just the fact that she's wanting green area. So, I mean, that's where I'm at with it. I don't know if you want me to put it in a motion that we proceed with the going for appraisals, or?
Yeah, if you're gonna move to purchase it, then if you could include, we could deal with the issue now of how to split the cost, or we could just say we'll sell it for the average of 2 appraisals. We'll vote on how to split the costs when we get that number back. Either one, whatever you prefer. It's your motion. But that way we can cover everything.
The only thing I gotta deal with, up on the hill, there's a lot of them live right there by the park. And there's a couple of them that ask questions about, they wanna buy property there. I tell them, I don't think we wanna sell any of it.
Parks
And I
are,
think, but this is kind of the same ordeal.
parks are different because, because we.
They'd have to have a reason. They just.
Well, they wanna
they're
put a
just not-
garden in, that's what part of them want.
And you gotta remember, Lenny, that parks, and that's why we have a whole separate parks board. If you think about a park, more than this kind of property, we're holding it in trust for the future 100-year generations. So a park is very much about the land, even if it appears to be unused now, that could be some kid's favorite dirt hit, right? This is not a park, this is a active structure. They're both publicly owned, but parks, I would say, and if we ever had the same proposal for a park, I'd say the additional analysis is, we're really entrusted to hold this land that someone else drew
Right.
out. So I would have a bigger issue, I think, with giving any part of the park.
Maybe my example really wasn't very good.
No, it was. But it's a different analysis, I think. No, it's
If the
different.
shoe's on the other foot too, Dale, this is a fire department. And in future years, we may have to enlarge that fire building. And we might need that property there than getting the trucks in and out.
No, that's fair. That's fair, and that's why I wanted Chief Tremaine here. But that's one way to look at it. All these are public bodies properties that, you know, last city council dealt with how they wanted to. We deal with it. The 20 years from now, they'll deal with it, you know.
Correct me if
so
I'm wrong.
You're right about that.
If we did it in the form of an easement, if we ever needed to do that,
Yeah.
we could take that property back.
Yeah, we could have language that if,
I don't see
Something
that
of
ever
that.
happening, but Tony's right.
Never know.
You never know. 50 years from now, they may
think
need
about it,
to.
what that, then they could
I don't
only
see it
increase the firehouse by that, what is it, 20 feet?
Well, it might give them the turn that they need to get the truck in.
That's not gonna happen there, that's the backside of the, I know, I get where you're coming from there,
Up them with
but you're on the backside of the day room and stuff, they're never going, unless they build out for something there, but then it would be taking
But then they
the
would be,
roadway away from them.
they would end up buying her property and taking all that out probably.
Well, then they get it back. That's part of the problem.
Yeah.
And then we're buying it back.
And I do think it's significant just for me, and it might not be for anyone else, but Mrs. Naubert's house already protrudes into the parking lot. You see what I mean? It's,
The existing house.
yeah, exactly.
Yes,
So I mean,
absolutely.
On
again,
Walker, it does?
yeah, so it's already
So to
goes
speak,
out and then
yeah.
goes back. So it's not as if, you know, again, when I look at this, I see, okay, this property was chopped up from what it used to be, and
I think there was a lot split at one time for the firehouse off that property.
yeah. So it's not as if we're building a new house in the parking lot. It's already there.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That was all part of the trailer court, wasn't it?
No.
Didn't they have trailers right behind?
No, that was Perry Stone's property.
But adjacent to it, and they split it up, the dollar store and the firehouse.
Okay, we could sit here and talk to this thing to
Yes,
death.
we could.
Yeah.
Anybody want to make a
I'll
motion?
go again, Mayor. I'd like to put in a form of motion that, and maybe I'll stipulate it this way, and correct me if it's wrong, that we go ahead and pursue getting appraisals. And would you have problem helping with the cost of the appraisals yourself?
Absolutely not.
And then we go from there. And we, you know, if we get the appraisals back, and we've asked her if this is what she'd want to spend, and we go from there. We can say yay or nay then.
Okay, so
We don't, even if we don't feel like that's enough, we could say, okay, we don't feel comfortable. We nix it. I mean,
So your vote is just to do the appraisals and bring it back?
So you're gonna make her pay for the appraisals, not knowing whether she's gonna get the property.
or we split
split
that.
it.
I said we could split
But we
it.
would both pay, and then if we don't sell it, then that was just wasted money on her side and our side.
Okay, so then I don't know how to make it other than, let's just say, I'll make a motion that we,
You can move that way if you want.
Yeah.
Tom. There's nothing wrong with that.
well,
What don't we like about the easement?
That's the only
That's
thing.
kinda where I'm at.
That's the only
feel
thing I
more
do
at home-
like.
I feel more at home with an easement, just cause,
As long as Mrs. Knoppert's okay with it. I mean, I would feel better about an easement, but you guys are the,
but that's fine, I get that, but that's an easement, you know, I mean, what if this administration changes here and the next come in and says, well, we don't like that easement, we want to
They,
utilize
they
that. So-
can't. It'll be, I mean, an easement is solid. It's reliable. It's something where she could plant a tree and know, okay.
Does it have a
unless-
time limit on it, an easement?
Well, not unless we put one in there. I mean,
Okay.
what I'm hearing is the only thing that we may put in is an emergency clause for the fire department if there's an emergency to, I just don't see that being very likely or necessary, or we just it's an easement, we still own the property and the easement's forever. And it
So-
runs with the land and it runs with the next owner and the next owner after that.
So if you do an easement, who moves the fence and who puts the new fence up?
Yeah,
That's part of your vote.
we would put
Part
that
of the motion.
on her plate.
And then we could draft the easement and record it. There's still a charge for the easement. So she would still pay for the easement, but it's just,
So you should-
it's very similar. It's the next best thing
The
after
easement-
ownership.
The easement wouldn't be as much as purchasing the land.
Yes, sir. Correct. Yeah. But it runs with the land. It's
what you
solid.
thought with the park.
Well, if it's gonna be an easement, I don't mind taking all that part, but it's just for yard use. I mean, that'd be all in the language of the easement.
Well, yeah, the whole dimensions will be in the easement.
Yeah.
So the easement, the
I don't
only,
want them to get all that property and the easement, then start filling this back with gravel so they can park back there and stuff.
okay. So it's gotta be
So that'd be
grass
all
without a
language of the
structure.
easement. Yeah.
Is that,
What, I didn't catch that, I'm sorry.
You have no intentions of putting a structure on any part of that property, correct?
No,
Or
no,
building a
that, I
driveway.
Or
mean,
building a driveway, it's
no.
nothing but for green space for you.
Well-
It'd be hard surface anyway if she did put a.
Yeah.
I was gonna put some gravel, like a little walkway
That
path
would
down
just be
there.
landscaping.
Okay, yes, that would be landscaping, and just, so it's clear, I did want to put like a small little lean-to for my puppy. I mean, she only weighs 25 pounds, so,
Doghouse. Call it a doghouse.
Co-
Don't worry.
doghouse, okay.
Yell at you.
okay.
Still think that's categorized landscaping type of
Your,
umbrella.
your vote, or your motion, Tony, could be for an easement for the property with the stipulation that, it's green space with no permanent structures.
That would be fine.
And if we need it back,
That's the way they
take it
kind
back,
of use.
no problems, we don't have to go to court or nothing like
Yeah, I
that.
mean, we wouldn't want that. We would want
Have we ever?
We would have that have
we
that
have ever
language
done
in the
this?
easement, though, that if the city ever needed it back, it would revert back to us.
well, we wouldn't. I mean, that's hard to do.
That's the way I want it. I
That's
mean,
hard to do without it being discretionary to where, because if you say, well, if they need it back in an emergency, then it's just.
Okay, let's
How's this work?
hold on, guys. Okay, this piece of property that we're talking about cannot be used by anybody other than the owner of this property on Walker Street,
302.
except for the fire department. We've got the fire chief here telling us that he doesn't need that property.
Correct.
I'm just stating the facts here. And what, my concern is opening up something like this for the rest of the city on different people's properties. Okay, and that's just part of the reason we get elected is to make these decisions.
And I respect you for that.
But the thing is, the only reason I brought up the easement being a way to go, an option, I guess, or whatever, is we may be able to do that for other people if it's in the form of an easement, if it's for the right reasons. This is a piece of property that nobody else can do anything with. Nobody.
Correct. It's pretty well
I
landlocked.
understand it, but what if she sells that? What does this just say,
Mm-hmm.
if say somebody moves it, does the other person
An
have the
easement-
same easement?
An
Yeah,
the
they-
easement goes with the property,
And they still are
With any
restricted. They
easement.
have to keep it green
but
space.
it still has the same restrictions.
Yeah. And like the mayor said, then it doesn't create a, what do you call it?
Precedent.
Precedent. So it covers you that way.
Trying to cover your reason why you think. I mean,
Yeah.
And if someone else comes to us, we'll.
There'll be a
do
bunch
long
coming.
discussion too. That's
There'll
fine.
be, there'll be some coming.
Well, the
asking for
easement kind of
easements.
protects us being able to handle this case by case, correct?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And the next person that comes, we'll do the same thing. We'll sit here all night if we have to.
If you
Well,
sell
let's
it,
say
Make
she
the right
just-
decision.
They say somebody wants to build a garage on their property. And
She's
we
not
got
asking
some
to build
property
it.
that's, let's say it's 10 foot, 12 foot wide and 10 foot long. Now, and they say, we want to build a driveway on it. Just using this as a scenario, would we do the same thing for them?
I don't know, to bring that scenario to us and we'll have to talk about it like we are now, but we'll make it a lot quicker conversation.
Yeah, we will.
That's very fair, Mr. Fryman, and I guess what I was saying with the variances and stuff, we've got options. If somebody wants to build a garage, they don't have enough space, maybe we get them a variance, we send them back to BZA, or maybe we look at everything on a case by case to try to help the person, but try to do our job and preserve our property too.
I don't feel comfortable voting on either one of them tonight unless I have the variance in front of me to read to see what it says.
The easement,
I'm sorry, not the variance, the easement.
well, you could make a
Well,
motion to.
I think we make the motion. I think she needs to know that if the easement is in agreement with this board, that she has a backyard, okay? The easement will be brought back to you for approval,
Final approval.
has to be back to you before final approval. What the motion tonight would be to allow Ms. Snopper to go forward with her home and her, best case scenario, backyard,
Potential backyard.
potential backyard, but make it in the form of an easement from the city with restrictions.
That's,
Did I say that right?
You said it
Easement
perfectly.
with restrictions.
Sounds good to me.
Which
Now,
will
does
be
this
brought
cost
back to
money?
us- Which will be brought back to us for
Which,
approval.
the easement
No,
will be
it's-
brought
I was
back
gonna
to
say,
you for, with
is it-
restrictions
It costs money.
And
Is it gonna be
and the cost.
money?
Well, I mean,
Or now, is there gonna be money that
Yeah.
has to be spent on this?
Not to, only if you, after you vote on the easement, then there will be a cost for the easement for Miss Noppert,
For Miss Nobbert? Okay.
okay?
So she's not losing.
But right now,
money.
she's not going out and spending
for appraisals, that could potentially
Correct,
not,
I get
not happen.
without knowing.
Right now, we're
that
not
wouldn't be
voting on
fair.
the easement either. We're voting on to write the easement up and let us see it and approve it.
We are voting that we are going forward to it if the easement comes back to you and you approve it.
Right.
Am I saying
Easement
this right,
has to come
everybody?
back.
Everybody hearing that
Yeah,
right?
I'm good with that. I like the language of that. I'll make that motion, Mayor.
All right, second,
I'll second it.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for your time. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I'll invite you all over when I get the yard done.
Will you get that dog trained first,
As long as
okay?
Chris is not
Coming home tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Any other things under new business or old business for council?
Old business, yes, I have something under old business.
What you got?
Imagine that, me.
What you got?
Wouldn't you?
We're ready,
Okay,
maybe.
in the last redevelopment commission meeting,
Oh.
they rescinded the agreement for 70 East High.
Yep.
The development agreement. The only question I have is we as council on what was it, the 19th of December agreed to the joint resolution plus that agreement. Do we need to rescind that as well? Because
we did.
LRC did.
So we did our part of it at the last meeting, when we moved to,
But-
move forward without any kind of redevelopment agreement. So the discussion at the last, and we can revisit this if you don't feel comfortable, I wanna make sure.
I got the
everyone feels
minutes,
good,
hold on a
but-
minute.
So the purpose of the agenda item, the discussion and the vote at the February, whatever it was, meeting.
Yeah, it was the
Six, maybe.
6th, wasn't it?
Was to say, okay, redevelopment they're not able to fulfill the terms of their redevelopment agreement because of the lease they have with the business on the bottom floor. But
Right.
we'd like to entertain doing it anyway, regardless of what redevelopment does. And that was a vote, that was approved, to just
remember that.
go forward with that, action, as the city. So before we were gonna say, okay, we're doing a joint agreement with redevelopment where basically the city's giving it to redevelopment's giving it to them as part of a, development agreement where they make certain promises. So then at the last city council meeting, what I asked for was a vote to either yay or nay, just skip all that and just do it directly from us to the owners of the property. If that wasn't clear, then we can revisit that for sure, and I want to, but as far as procedurally, we did our part because we said, okay, we're going around
And
redevelopment altogether.
I get all that.
Okay,
I get all that.
Okay.
But my point is, we have a resolution on the books that is nil and invalid, right?
because the resolution was
So we
a
know-
but for, the resolution was, we'll do this.
The joint resolution.
Yeah, based on, so there was the precedent, the condition precedent to the resolution was that the development agreement be executed. That can't be executed, so the resolution is still fine, because we basically said, we'll do this if the development agreement happens, didn't happen, so it just dies in the air. Doesn't have to be rescinded. We don't have to take any further action.
So
than
that
what we did
resolution
already.
will, even though it's nil and invalid, will stay on our records.
Yeah, there's no way to like delete it. I mean, it
Okay,
just-
that's my question here.
well, and that's why I put it back on the agenda at the last meeting for council and on the,
But
for.
I don't
redevelopment.
recall us going into detail on that, and I'm not saying that we didn't.
It's okay, I mean, we can.
No, hold on a minute. Just give me just a second. I said I had the minutes and I do, they're right here, and I was going to, I apologize.
We're good, take
I
your time.
usually have my P's and Q's, and I don't have them right now.
Tick tock, tick.
Don't start it.
What time? Only 7:15.
It was a motion to approve the recording of the deed, is what we said at that last meeting. I don't recall us going over any of that, that's all I'm saying. And unless it was, these are not verbatim minutes.
Yeah, I truly and honestly believe that I said basically the same thing I just said to you at the last meeting. If I didn't, we can put it back on. That was my intention, certainly. I don't know if anyone else remembers talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much at that meeting, we basically said, hey, they got a long-term lease. They
We
can't
get
get out
that,
of it.
yes.
Yeah.
So basically you voted, so you're saying they only voted just to the deed, but I thought Dale explained everything, that there's no way they can fulfill that economic.
What I recall is that the original resolution was to be a joint resolution between us and redevelopment, because there was a development agreement that had to do with the space on the bottom, correct?
Yeah.
And that space on the bottom was, they couldn't go forward with that.
Correct.
So
It
what
was
we did,
city-owned property,
what
not
we did in
redevelopment.
our meeting
Yep.
was say, okay, we're okay with it going around that piece of the development agreement with them as far as the bottom rental.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just give
And
it
then
to
what
them.
they did at RDC was rescinded their original motion evidently.
In their development agreement. So-
Development agreement, and
So
that's
none
what I'm
of
saying.
none of the resolutions, you can't really, I mean, I guess you could, but.
That's
So-
why I'm asking
No, it's a
the
good,
questions.
it's a good question. I'm kind of thinking it through. So the way I looked at it and the way I kind of still look at it is the main things that matter are the development agreement, which RDC, did rescind.
Saying correct. I
And
want
then
some-
our action, whatever it is, the resolutions we passed, to me, I look at a resolution as if we're saying we will do something, but it doesn't mean we have to do it.
Okay.
So in that context, we will do it. The promise before was we'll do it if they do X, Y, Z as part of their development agreement. Since the development agreement died, the resolution just doesn't matter anymore. It's like a statement, I guess, like us stating it. So we didn't, it's not a contract, that needs to be rescinded. But
You're the lawyer.
you're asking a good question, and I'm
I
giving you my
just,
best
it
answer.
just, yeah, well,
And it's on the record, so I mean, if anyone comes back and I'm wrong, then you can, yell at me. No, I honestly, I'm
biting my tongue now.
no, so and just to let you know, I thought about this at great length. I've worked on this project for a very small piece of land. I worked on this project a lot. I set you guys up to succeed. I put everything in public. I research it. I draft things. So I'm kind of being cheeky a little bit and joking with it, but to be very serious, I believe 100% legally, it's my legal opinion that we did it exactly right, above board, transparently, because I know you care about that, so I care about it.
As long as 10 years down the road, someone doesn't look at that resolution and say, what kind of development agreement do they have? It's right here in writing. That's all I'm saying.
And then they would backtrack through
Okay.
the analysis. And they can just tell
Can
me
I just
something.
say it this way? We know what's happened in the past, and I'm trying to not make the same mistakes.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
We can appreciate that.
I'm being honest here. We
No,
just
I
don't
agree.
want to make the same mistakes.
And
Nope.
if someone did look at this 10 years ago, which they might, they could see the entire record now, and they know exactly what happened.
Okay.
So that is important.
I'm
I just
comfortable with
felt it
that.
to be redundant to pass another resolution saying we didn't.
And again, I didn't know how we would do that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Nope, thank you.
Okay. Any other old business? If not, I'll entertain any comments from the audience. Okay, if no comments, entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved, Mayor.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Be home.